Hi guys and welcome back to a new video. My name is Martina and this is a secret craft room. I got a tree for our kitchen and I want to fill it with gingerbread and peppermint decorations. The first thing I decided to make for it are these lighted mini gingerbread houses. Please don't forget to give my video a thumbs up and subscribe if you like my content. And without further ado, let's get into the video. I'm going to use these remote controlled fairy lights to light my gingerbread houses. The first thing I did was to make a template. You can find the link to this template in the description below the video. First I cut out all the pieces from foamboard. Foamboard is perfect because it's sturdy and very lightweight. However, the walls turned out way too thick, so I decided to cut out all of the walls from thin cardboard instead. I still used foamboard for the roof and the base. To make it more gingerbready, I sanded down the edges a tiny bit to make them a little bit rounded. Then I glued everything except for the base together. Then I painted the inside white. Then I mixed light brown acrylic paint with a lot of baking soda. I like to dab it onto the surface instead of dragging the brush. As you can see, it creates more texture this way. Next I painted the inside of the houses yellow, and before the paint had dried I poured gold glitter into it. This will reflect the light inside the house and create a warm glow. I did the same to the bases. Next I used a thin acrylic sheet and dabbed matte Mod Podge on one side of it. Once dry, this creates sort of a frosted look. Then I sealed all the glitter with glossy Mod Podge. Next I used light brown acrylic paint to clean up the outside of the houses. Then I used a plastic cutter to cut out tiny rectangles from the acrylic sheet. I used super glue to glue the windows in place inside the houses. I made the mistake of letting the houses stand right side up while the glue set, but it would have been better to put them upside down. The fumes from the glue couldn't get out, which made the acrylic sheets very clouded. I tried adding glossy Mod Podge to the inside of the windows and it helped a little bit, but not much. Next I made a hole at the back of each house for the lights. My fairy lights have 50 lights and I made 8 houses. I decided to add 3 lights inside each house and then 3 lights between each house. I bunched the lights up and glued them to the base, and then I glued the base in place. I used clear tape to help keep the lights in place until the glue set. Next I added gingerbread paint to the base. Next it was time to make the candy canes and peppermints. I used foam clay for this. I made one little round piece for each house. To make the candy canes, I rolled out the clay as thin as possible and then I twisted 2 strands together. The little round pieces stuck to the paper, so I simply cut them out. Then I painted all the red details. Next I mixed red glitter with glossy Mod Podge and added it to all the red parts. To hold the little round pieces I added double-sided tape to the end of my tweezers and stuck the clay pieces on it. Then I did the same thing with white glitter. Then I cut the candy canes down to size. I also cut away a piece at the back to make it sit more flush to the house. And then I glued it in place. To create the icing, I mixed spackle with white acrylic paint. My spackle is quite white already, but to make sure it's really white once dry, I decided to add a bit of paint. The paint also makes it a little more loose and easier to work with. To make the finest details around the windows and door, I added the spackle to a small bottle. For the rest of the icing details, I used a piping bag. I added 4mm rhinestones to create little candies in the icing. Once completely dry, I added glossy Mod Podge to all the icing, because spackle dries matte but icing is glossy. Then I painted the candies with red, yellow, green and blue acrylic paints. Then I added glitter to them. I didn't want the lights in between the houses to show, so I covered them with electrical tape. Then I painted the wires dark green to hide those too. Lastly, I glued a small clip to the bottom of each house. You don't have to do this, but I found that it helps a lot when placing the houses in the tree. Please don't forget to subscribe and give my video a thumbs up if you liked it, and let me know in the comments below if you like gingerbread decorations for Christmas. Every comment and like helps my channel to grow and reach more people. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.